Welcome to the Dome Discussions Podcast. Your top source for all things New Orleans Saints. Powered by four voices who live and breathe black and gold. Touchdown! Every hit, every play.
Welcome to the NFL.
Every moment. We've got it covered.
Let's go! Let's go! Go!
What's going on, Who Dat Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Dome Discussions Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Caleb Yacarino, Kyle Bassan, and Drew Collings. And we have a little bit of a different vibe on today's episode as the Saints have finally returned to the win column for just the second time this season. Had an outstanding performance against the Panthers in Charlotte on Sunday. Finally, you saw complimentary football in all three phases of the game. So it was really good to see from the Saints. I know our biggest topic point is going to be Tyler Shough, so I'll kind of get that started because that'll probably take up a huge chunk of today's episode, given that it's the bye week and there's no matchup to preview this week. But yeah, Tyler Shough was awesome on Sunday. Went 19 for 27, 282 yards and 2 touchdowns. And most importantly, he excelled on third down, an area the Saints have been very iffy on this season. The Saints went 8 for 17 on third down conversions on Sunday, which is marginally better than what we've seen throughout the season. He showed good pocket awareness, kept his eyes downfield, and that also led to a lot of big plays when the initial play broke down. There were a couple nuggets from Tyler Shough's performance on Sunday. His 128.9 passer rating is the third highest for a first-year starting quarterback for the Saints and the highest in a road game for any first-year player, while his 282 passing yards is a franchise record for a rookie quarterback, and he's the first rookie quarterback to win a game for the Saints since 1981 when Dave Wilson did it. And the last time a Saints quarterback threw two plus touchdowns and 0 interceptions in one of his first 2 career starts was Archie Manning in 1971. So overall, this was an extremely refreshing performance. It took Tyler Shough 2 starts to get his first win, which we weren't able to say about Spencer Rattler, who took about 11, 12 starts. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on Tyler Shough? This was very encouraging.
Yeah, for me, look, the traffic isn't as bad. The flowers smell better. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just kind of what it made. Everything just felt better this week and on because the Tyler Shough win, it gave you something. I'm not even going to knock anyone down, right? It was a better win this season. It made you feel good. It felt good to win that game. The offense looked good. The defense looked good. Now, my problem is they only were able to put up 17 points. I wouldn't put that all on Shough. But it felt like the best win of the season. The Giants win, even after the game, we were kind of like, Jackson Dart did just throw the football on the ground and give us a fumble, right? Things like that. But this game, the Saints really earned this one. They put themselves in position. And the Panthers aren't a great team. We're not going to say that, but they were 5-4 going into it. They just came off a big win over one of the best teams in the league who seems like they can't win against bad teams at this point. But the Saints look good. Beat a team coming, streaking in, and they went into their house, took over. Your rookie quarterback played well, only took 2 sacks, which was a big concern. And I mean, man, some of those arm angles, those throws, I think he hit an angle route to Devin Neal, running to his right, throwing to his left. Now, you don't want to see crossbodies like that, but it was perfect on the money. I believe he did no look there, right? It was beautiful. So I loved watching it. It was entertaining. It won me a parlay. I was that confident that all of that was going to happen. Okay. So it was just an awesome game to watch. And I feel good this week, just watching the Saints get a win like that.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway was QB development is not dead in this league. It's a real thing. And I think one of the reasons we were so happy about the coaching staff was that there's 3 former quarterbacks in the quarterback room coaching these young quarterbacks and developing them. And it really looks like it's a real thing. I mean, Tyler Shough should have never started to begin the season. That's a good thing that didn't happen because there wouldn't have been time to develop. Now he looks more confident in the pocket. He's stepping up. He doesn't look like a rookie in any way, shape, or form, which is exactly what we hoped for drafting an old rookie like Shough. But one of the best things for me was that, as we kind of said, third downs, it looks like I didn't feel like, oh, it's 3rd and 7. Well, we're going to punt. well, we're not going to get this third down and start. It's going to be the end of the drive. Like, no, I felt like, oh, Shough can make a play here. This is going to be a big day for Shough, and it was. I mean, that throw to Olave was perfect. I know other places, let's say, said that it was all Olave or that it was definitely a push off, and that's why it happened. No, it was a dot. It would have been a great throw no matter what. And then to get the ball to Juwan Johnson on I forget how many yards it was, but on the massive play early in the game was all Shough, and he made that play. So it definitely felt like the offense as a whole was better. I have complaints about the coaching on the offensive side, but I also want to talk about the defense. Brandon Staley is the correct hire. It looks like a great hire. This was the perfect game plan. The Saints somehow stopped the run, did not let the Panthers' very good running game dominate, which was surprising. And they said, hey, Bryce Young, you win the game. Let's allow you to win the game. And it didn't happen because it's Bryce Young. And Brandon Staley, he's probably been surprisingly good for me with what he's dealing with. Because I've said all year that the personnel is not correct for his scheme. And somehow, some way, it still looks decent.
I mean, I love what Staley did against Bryce Young. I've always been a fan of Young, but whenever he faces the Saints, I realize that he's just not good. I always hype him up when we don't. I'm like, oh, he could be a good quarterback, but yeah, then it just goes back to that. But I want to talk a little bit about Shough. I'm not trying to get too far ahead of myself here because it's still a long season. He's had injury stuff, so you don't know what to expect. But if he can continue this level of play and remain a quality starter, that gives the Saints so much flexibility this offseason. Instead of being forced to draft a quarterback with their first pick, instead of being forced to go out and get a Kyler Murray or someone like that to bridge for a year, they could have the luxury of not having to and being able to pick best player available and building your team up. It doesn't matter if you think Shough is going to be the franchise quarterback. If he plays 3-4 years for the Saints, if that's their plan, fine. At this point, he could be longer. We'll see. But even then, you can roster for a future class that's stronger where you can find your franchise quarterback. So, I mean, this is exactly what you want to see out of Shough. You mentioned how sitting him was the right idea, 100%. The development has been evident already just with how he's performing under pressure right now. But I think you're really encouraged by this sign and by showing. And it's a sign of good things to come, especially this offseason.
Yeah, and going back to what something Kyle was saying, one of the biggest things for me is how he's been able to handle pressure in his first two starts. We all know he had trouble with that in training camp, had trouble with that in the preseason, had some issues with that in college as well. But he really is extending plays. He's got great pocket awareness, and most importantly, he's putting his receivers in position to succeed. A lot of his passes were right on the money, like you said, Caleb. That's something that we weren't seeing these past couple of weeks prior to Tyler Shough getting the start. So it's great to see, and it's also worth noting he was down 3 of the initial starters on the offensive line, with Trevor Penning going to L.A., with Eric McCoy dealing with an injury, and with Taliase Fuaga also missing with an injury. You really can't ask for much more, and that leads me to something else. The Saints absolutely won that trade with the Jacksonville Jaguars. That offensive line would not have played like that had they not went and got Luke Fortner earlier in the season. We all know how bad this offensive line looks when Eric McCoy is not on the field, and Luke Fortner has filled right in and done a great job. Colin Saunders was actually just waived by the Jaguars this morning. So, I mean, you can't really get much better than that from the end of Mickey Loomis, which is something we rarely say nowadays. But, yeah, I do want to talk about the defense as well because, Caleb, you mentioned it, and Drew as well. Bryce Young, they put the game in his hands, and someone who has his number on this Saints defense is Alontae Taylor. He's got 5 games against Bryce Young with 3 sacks, an interception, 5 pressures, 8 passes defended, and 6 tackles for loss while also forcing a fumble as well. So he clearly has his number. He had a great showing on Sunday against the Panthers, had 6 tackles, 2 stops, tackle for loss, and an interception. If you get this out of Alontae Taylor for the rest of the season, I feel very confident that the Saints are going to want him to bring him back this offseason. Obviously, it was close that he was going to be dealt to the Colts right before the Sauce Gardner trade. Now I'm glad that it did not happen, because if we get this out of Alante, and look, I think he's also bolstering the production of the two young quarterbacks on this roster as well. Quincy Riley had another great showing against the Panthers. He's just a ball hawk. I mean, he always finds his way to get his hands on the football, and Kool-Aid McKinstry's really gotten his confidence back. So it's great to see. The secondary was outstanding on Sunday against the Panthers, and Demario Davis as well. He's playing like one of the best linebackers in the NFL at 36 years old, had a 91.1 overall grade and a 91.9 coverage grade with 7 tackles, 3 stops, a pass batted at the line of scrimmage, and an interception that was called back from a roughing the passer call. So you really can't ask much more from this defense. It's heating up at the right time. Brandon Staley completely out-game planned the Panthers. And like you said, Caleb, I think this was the right hire. It just needed to take some time for him to get settled. That's what, when I do my interview with the Enemy series with Canal Street Chronicles each week, the Evan Craig for the Rams actually said that this is something they saw with the Rams as well. He started slow and then picked it back up. So it's really good to see this defense picking it back up, especially when you have a rookie quarterback back there. It really relieves some pressure off of him in the offense, especially when you're only putting up 17 points in a game. You're not winning that game without a strong performance from the defense.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back also to Tyler Shough playing well, because let's be real, this next draft is probably going to be heavy defense by the Saints.
Yep.
Because, and so you need Tyler Shough to at least show that he could be the starter for 2026. Honestly, right now, I don't care about 2027, because 2026 is going to be the real tell if he can be that quarterback for the future, because we all know 2027 class quarterbacks, all that jazz. Not this class. No. Defense, like in wide receivers, that one position in guard that could be somewhere, but it's going to be Saints getting edge rusher, D tackle, linebacker, corner. Like they could go everywhere. And that's one of the reasons also with Brandon Staley, and I was talking about with a personnel issue, like Quincy Riley's the one zone corner on this team. And this is a primarily zone defense. So like that's going to be a focus in the draft also. It's just I'm very happy with what Brandon Staley has done with what he has. And also I wanted to shout out Nathan Shepard, who won NFC Special Teams Player of the Week for his block kick and the crazy rule that I've learned about in in the new rule that I've learned about. But he had I think he had a sack on Bryce Young.
Back as well.
Was it a sack on Bryce Young? Yes, and like, yeah, and he's been making plays this season. He's just not. I wrote an article for PFSN on it, and he's not one of those players that Saints fans, Saints analysts ever think about as like this core piece of the defense, but he is great for the rebuilds. Like he is a fine defensive tackle, like a defense, like the third defensive tackle, just to kind of make plays here and there. Sometimes get gashed in the run, sometimes doesn't make the plays, but like he will make plays here and there, and that's exactly what he needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of
my main
highlight.
point. All right, you go.
I kind of just want to highlight, all the young guys that really, because again, this is a rebuild year. We knew you weren't going to be that competitive. What you want to see is growth from your young guys. One thing is we saw, if I'm just looking at stats here, Danny Stutzman had a say in the game. He's got some play time. Let me pull it up. Alante Taylor obviously had the game. He had Isaiah Stallbird is making that JT Gray move make it look a lot of sense now, right? He's playing, he's balling right now.
On special teams.
Quincy Riley, and then Devin Neal finally got a chance, not too big, but he finally got a chance, broke off for 16 yards. And then obviously you talk about Tyler Shough. Devon Vele, he played his snaps. He didn't get the targets that maybe you would want, but he played the snaps. He had one reception for 15 yards, but he blocked his ass off as well. So, I mean, what else can you say? Because that's one thing about him is he's going to block, and, he's going to get his opportunity. I don't fear that. I know there's going to be a time when he's finally going to get those targets, especially upsettingly now that Rashid Shaheed is gone. Vele is going to eventually get his time in this offense. And Tyler Shough kind of just brought it all together. You got to see Jawan Johnson finally have his best game of the season, and he was there for Shough when he needed him too. That was two of his biggest plays. Shough escaped the pocket, looked for somebody, and he found Juwan downfield. Which another thing by Shough, just to continuously talk about him, is he keeps his eyes downfield while escaping the pocket. Look, it was a beautiful game. It was awesome to see the young guys make an impact. I didn't even mention Chris Olave. I don't think any of us have said anything about Chris Olave. One hell of a game he had. And look, you need it from him because he is your wide receiver one now. The Saints you have to work an extension out for Olave now. How much you pay him, I don't know, but you have to figure something out because now you need somebody to throw the ball to. I just pulled up a second ago the free agent wide receivers in 2026. It's not looking so great. Mike Evans, I guess, right? 33-year-old Mike
The
Evans,
whole
if the
agent
Saints
class
could
is
get him
just
right.
No.
Christian
whole
Kirk,
history agent
Debo
class is
Samuel,
bad.
Jacoby Myers, Alan Lazard, right? It's not no one out there is really like, so you need Chris Olave on the roster. You need to figure out what the extension is going to be. But the young guys made an impact, and that's kind of all I wanted to focus on is you get to see it, and that's what you need to see because that's what gives you hope for next season.
I got two kind of things. First off, the Saints needed Denzel Boston in the draft, but I'm not here to talk about that. Kyle got me thinking of Rashid Shaheed, and I was just curious what he did for the Seahawks. So I quickly looked it up. He had 1 reception for 3 yards, plus 2 carries for 20 yards and a fumble. So not
He
his best
fumbled?
game, but from what I see on Pro Football Net reference right now. So yeah, but not here to harp on that. Just was kind of curious. I want to go for the secondary. Nick highlighted with how well they were playing. And I think there's a good chance that you see them continue to play well throughout the year. Looking at the rest of the Saints' schedule, it's just bad. There's maybe one top 20 quarterback they face. They face the Falcons and Michael Penix, the Dolphins and Tua, the Bucks and Baker Mayfield. He's easily top 20.
Yeah.
Then Bryce Young. You play the Jets, so probably Justin Fields. Titans, Cam Ward, Falcons, Michael Penix. That shouldn't scare you that much. What worries me more is the run defense. I think you're really going to see them get tested a lot more in the pass defense because I'd say outside of the Titans, these teams have a great running back. So I'm expecting the secondary to play well through the rest of the year. Run defense, I think, is where we're really going to see what Staley can dial up for.
Okay, so a little off topic, but I have a fun question. So I just did a piece. So per PFSN, Saints have the easiest remaining schedule, right? So I did schedule prediction. How many wins do you think the Saints end with the schedule that was just talked about? If you need to pull up the schedule, take a little bit second to pull up the schedule. But personally, I said Saints end with 6 wins. They get 4 more wins at the end of the season because you have Tyler Shough. Look, I don't think he's going to play as good as he did against the Panthers every week. That's a third-year level, second-year level quarterback playing. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. But this schedule is insanely easy. Like, it's a very easy. This is that when I complain about strength of schedule. This is that the correctness. This is that where the strength of schedule before the season was correct. Like, it's not good. So personally, I think they end with 6 wins.
Okay.
Just looking at the schedule.
I got mine. I mean, the Saints are going to win just enough because how easy the schedule is that they won't get a high pick. But I have them winning 3 games for the rest of it, so 5 total. I think they split with the Falcons. I'm not projecting us to lose both.
That's what I said.
I think we beat the Jets because they're the Jets. And I think we'll beat the Titans. Those are the 3
So you
games
think we'll lose
I
the
have.
Panthers?
I think it's just a divisional opponent. I'm just saying we split. That's where I tend to go for most of them that are pretty close in talent. I project a split. So, yeah, I'm going 3 wins for the rest of the year.
I'll let you go.
Yeah. Look, the Saints offense hasn't scored 20 points since week 2. We scored 20 against the Giants, but defensively. So it's like if we're comparing look, it's not a Tyler Shough led offense. That's true. I mean, if we do get that even half of these weeks, I think. But I mean, it's hard because any given Sunday, but the Dolphins just blew out the Bills. They have Devon Achane, and I played against him in fantasy enough this season. Okay, I'm tired of seeing Devon Achane. And you would love to get a split with the Falcons. I think it's possible. They have a lot of names on their defensive line, at least that kind of scare you. Have they been able to put it together as much? Probably not, but they have a lot of guys that scare you. And Tyler Shough looked good in the pocket. And I also wanted to mention this earlier before I even go to this. What Kellen Moore and that coaching staff has done with both Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shough to fix these pocket presence problems is crazy. I don't. They must be beating them in practice where this just doesn't scare them anymore. Because these guys don't fear. I saw Tyler Shough take hits, and that's something that you were scared he wouldn't sit in the pocket take hits. He stepped up into a hit to make a throw. Like these are things that are really impressive. But just go back to it, right? I would love to say the Saints come out and win. They have 7 games left. Win 4 of these to get to 6. That look, you tell me that I'm excited for next year for the whole offseason, right? Do I see it happening? You'd have to split one with the Falcons. You'd beat the Jets, which I think is possible. You'd have to sweep the Panthers, and I think the other one would come from the Titans.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I don't think that's what happens. I think 3 is kind of the number you get to. I think the Saints end with 5 wins, kind of how Drew said. But maybe we could say those last 3 wins are the last 3 weeks of the season over the Jets, Titans, and Falcons. And then you still go into the offseason feeling pretty happy. So that's going to be my prediction.
Yeah, I completely agree with Kyle and Caleb. I think the Saints finish 6-11. That was my preseason prediction for the Saints record. I also agree that it would be a split with the Falcons. I think the Saints sweep the Panthers this season, and I think they easily beat the Jets and the Titans. The Dolphins are not as bad as they're made out to be. They have a good roster. Obviously, Tua is not the greatest quarterback in the world, and it can sometimes be a liability. But you saw him play really well against the Bills. So, well, I wouldn't say really well, threw a pick still, but that's kind of where I see it. I think 6-11 is a very realistic possibility for the Saints. But I do want to kind of go back to something that was mentioned earlier, where in regard to Devon Vele. He had 87% of the snaps played on Sunday, which is by far the most of the season. Tyler Shough specifically mentioned Devon Vele as a guy who expects to take on a much bigger role when the Shaheed news broke. And regarding Rashid Shaheed, it's funny you mentioned he fumbled on Sunday because his last game as a Saint, he had 2 fumbles. So it might be a sign of bad things to come. But Devon Vele, I thought he was great. I thought he stepped up when he needed to. Obviously, he didn't get the first down, but on that 3rd and long where Tyler Shough thread the needle right in between, that was a very good contested catch. And I'm not sure anyone else on this roster is making that catch. So just seeing him getting involved is very encouraging. But sticking on the topic of wide receivers, it's only right we talk about Chris Olave. Chris Olave had 5 catches, 104 yards, and a touchdown, along with a career-long 62-yard reception. This is a big game for Olave because obviously we all know last season ended his season with a really bad head injury in Charlotte. And he was asked if he had any thoughts in practice throughout the week on that. He said no, but when he stepped on the field, he felt a lot of anxiety. And I really give a lot of credit to him for turning that into a big game. And it looks like Rashid Shaheed trade might have just opened up some more opportunities for Olave as well. And the connection with him and Tyler Shough. That's something we haven't seen with a couple of the past quarterbacks for the Saints. Olave hasn't really been on the same page with guys like Derek Carr, Spencer Rattler. They were on the same page. Tyler Shough, you saw that one-handed grab by Chris Olave. Used his opposite hand to keep the defender down. That's all connection based. I mean, that's chemistry right there. He trusted him. Tyler Shough trusted Olave, and Olave trusted Shough. So that's really good to see. And also, I would like to mention, it should not go unnoticed that on that explosive touchdown for Olave, Devin Neal's blitz pickup was outstanding. That's something that Alvin Kamara has really struggled with this season. So to see Devin Neal be able to do that for us, for the offense, that's really encouraging. And one more. I actually do want to talk about somebody else on the offense, Alvin Kamara. We got vintage Alvin Kamara on Sunday, and the Saints finally used the screen, something that we have not seen this season. And guess, to anyone's surprise, it worked. It worked well. Kamara had 22 carries, 83 rushing yards, and 3 receptions and 32 receiving yards. He had his 115 scrimmage yards in the win now have him at 12,183 scrimmage yards, which passes Christian McCaffrey, Amon Green, and wide receiver Charlie Joyner. Interesting. I would not have known a wide receiver would be in that. But now he's 68th all-time in NFL history. So it's really encouraging to see these guys starting to get involved more. Obviously, with the Rashid Shaheed trade, you'd expect the wide receivers to get involved more. But obviously, Alvin Kamara has not looked like himself this season. So to see them use him the way that we all know how he can be used was really encouraging. I thought it was a great game for Kellen Moore. Aside from the short yardage, not going for it, you have to go for it more. But that's really my only gripe with Kellen Moore in this game. I thought he was outstanding.
Yeah, and back to the wide receivers, like it's kind of, or even the trade with the trade deadline, it's kind of interesting because I feel like the Saints kind of got better from both trades. Like in the end, they kind of got better just because now you're opening up spots for Devon Bailey, who's a way better blocker than Rashid Shaheed. Brandon Cooks kind of does what Rashid Shaheed does, besides like the just speed, because just Brandon Cooks is older, and then Chris Olave is kind of just that like same archetype. So now Chris Olave, there's no one else kind of taking up his role. It's now just Chris Olave, Devon Bailey, and Brandon Cooks. And it's kind of, and now Kellen Moore doesn't have to overthink like, hey, how do I get Rashid Shaheed involved? It's now, let me put Devon Bailey out there. Let me write up some plays for him, but kind of let him cook out there and let me get Chris Olave involved. And then same thing with Trevor Penning. Trevor Penning, the blocking was way better when Trevor Penning was not there. Now, am I going to say that the Panthers' run defense is not bad? Like, they have a decent run defense, and the fact that Alvin Kamara looked probably the best this whole season in that game when Trevor Penning was not there, who, by the way, Bleacher Report said was the Chargers' breakout candidate for the rest of the year, which I was shocked by. Like, it does seem the team got better, and like, again, Rashid Shaheed is very good. Do not get me wrong. This is not a gripe on Rashid Shaheed in any way, shape, or form, because I think he is very good. I just think he did not fit what Kellen Moore was trying to do, and next to Chris Olave in the end.
And look, I guess we'll go to another receiving threat that had an outstanding game on Sunday, Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson had a 52-yard explosive play and a 30-yard touchdown, combining for 92 yards total on 4 receptions. It really looks like he's having a breakout season. As much as we are very critical of him in the drops and the effort issues, we know he's a second half of the season player, and he's looked really good these past 2 weeks. And I think that has a lot to do with Tyler Shough being at quarterback. Obviously, they spent time together as roommates at Oregon. They spent time together in college. So, I mean, that's already chemistry there. And he looked like Shough's safety blanket through 2 weeks so far. So, I mean, you can't really complain. And look, he was in the first quarter, he was the Saints' like lone bright spot against the Panthers. Obviously, that 52-yard play, credit to Shough on that, because like you said, Kyle, just to be able to extend that play and step up in the pocket and take that hit to make that throw was very good of him. But I think Juwan Johnson deserves some credit. I know a lot of Saints fans are very fed up with him right now, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't give credit where credit is due. Look, through 10 games, Johnson's 43 catches ranked 6th among tight ends. His 491 yards ranked 4th among tight ends. And he averages 11.4 yards per catch. He's just 7 receptions and 57 yards shy of matching his career highs that he set both last season. And he's only 4 targets away from matching his single season high of 64. And his 288 yards after the catch ranked 6th among tight ends, while his 24 first downs ranked 5th among tight ends. So he's been productive. There's no arguing that. It's just if he can minimize those issues, those critical errors, especially when the Saints are in need of a play, like we saw against the Giants and like we saw against the Bears. The Saints were able to pull it off against the Giants, but you saw that wasn't the case against the Bears. And I won't lie to you. After the Bears game, I was very adamant on benching Juwan Johnson. I know they just signed him to a $30 million deal, 3-year, $30 million, and you don't want to bench a guy that you just extended. But it was hurting the team. And just seeing these past 2 weeks gives me a lot of hope for the rest of the season for Juwan.
I completely forgot it until you said it that they were teammates at Oregon. Completely, that's my. But I love that we get to highlight Juwan Johnson, because I think somebody in here, we're not gonna name it, has really been talking about Juwan Johnson all year in a good light. You know, he's supposed to, yeah. So we don't have to name it, right? But no, but look, I just thought Juwan Johnson would have that career year because there's young quarterbacks. You need to find a way to find someone, and Juwan Johnson has been that. Now look, the drops have been pretty bad, right? He's turned his head before he got the ball too many times. That's really been what it is. He's looking ahead to make a play before he actually has the ball, and therefore no play is made. but he's been a safety net, and he's been someone that these quarterbacks can go to. Uh, we saw it early on in the season with Rattler, and then again with Shough. It happened twice where Shuck's under pressure, keeps his eyes downfield. Who's the first guy he sees? It's wide open, really, was Juwan Johnson. It was once for the 52-yarder, and then, for the 30-yarder. I would love to see it happen a little bit more. I mean, honestly, some tight end screens with Juwan Johnson. The blocking, however, is a big problem. You can't throw Jack Stoll out there when you want to run the ball, because now you have tells that you're going to run the ball and things like that. It needs to be fixed. I can't tell you how many times I've seen clips on Twitter of Juwan Johnson and Cesar Ruiz on a double team on one guy, and amazingly, he still makes it through, right? But these blocking issues have to be fixed with Juwan. But he is a great receiving threat. Obviously, he was a wide receiver before. And like I said, if Devon Bailey is not going to be the big body over the field target yet, Juwan Johnson can be that. That's what I've been saying since before the season started, and I'll continue to say it because he is. Is he the who leads the Saints in receiving yards? Is it Juwan?
I'm gonna assume Juwan.
Yeah,
There's
because I
no,
think Olave is around 400 something, but I believe Juwan actually leads the team in receiving yards.
It is Chris Olave with 664.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm way off then. I thought he was in the 400s.
Olave might hit 1,000. There you
When
go.
did he get there? No, but Juwan, he's got to be number 2 then, right? So he's definitely been a big threat for the Saints. He's been a big weapon. Now a fantasy sleeper for some. He beat me in fantasy, that's why I said that. But he's been good. He's been good enough. He's been solid. He's delivered. And despite there's a lot of background noise with his name going on, like Nick said, like Nick has been a part of. But he's
Leading the
made
charge.
plays, and that's all you need to see from him. And hopefully, he makes enough plays where that $10 million a year contract makes sense.
I won't lie. When he caught the ball on the Tyler Shough play in the first quarter, I audibly held my breath because I thought he was going to fumble. And then Juwan Johnson kept looking backwards just to make sure the defender wasn't about to hit the ball out while he was running. And I was like, just get down, go out of bounds, do anything else besides. And then he got the touchdown to finish the game.
I thought it was
another amazing play.
I thought he was going to fumble in the end zone because I was at the game, so
Also,
the angle was just
he just makes plays when the quarterback needs it most, and that's kind of what you want from a tight end. And I still think the Saints should add another tight end this offseason. I think drafting a young tight end would be an amazing choice. Just you need some youth in that room, and Kellen Moore clearly likes to use tight ends. But yeah, Juwan Johnson's doing, and I was also in the party of hey, bench him because the blocking was just so bad and the drops and everything. If he just can fix the drops and fumble issues, we're fine. That's perfect. Your receiver room is 10 times better when that's the case. Or receiver room. Your offense is better when that's the case. So yeah, this performance against Panthers was amazing, and I hope he continues.
This season has really stood out for me. If there were a Saints stock market, the players would be flying around because Juwan Johnson, it seems weekly, we have different discussions. One week he's had an amazing game. He could be a really good piece. And the next week, get him off the team, bench him, all that. And it's been like that for so many players. Rattler had that throughout the season.
Kool-Aid.
McKinstry's done that. Chase Young has done that at the start of the year. People were out on him.
Pete Werner's out. He's playing well now.
It's just been absolutely crazy. Cesar Ruiz just kind of going down a little bit more than up, but it's just been everyone. Alvin Kamara has even been on that. Some of the Saints star players have just been up and down, up and down. It's been fun to talk about because we can have a different reaction weekly, but I just can't remember a season where seemingly every player has fluctuated so much with Saints fans' opinions.
I do want to mention something real quick, just because we brought up the Saints adding another tight end next season. So I wanted to see, top free agent targets, tight ends. Well, first of all, Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau are on expiring contracts, so you're going to have to add another tight end. I mean, they got some great names: Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, David Njoku, Dallas Goedert, Tyler Higbee, Kyle Pitts. They have a lot of big name tight ends.
If we go after
Okay.
And Goddard was who I was going to highlight. Because, spent the year with Kellen Moore. I don't believe he had too great of a season under him, if I'm remembering.
He did against the Saints in week 3.
Shout out Jordan Howden.
But I mean, they got a lot of names, and you're obviously gonna have to add one through free agency as well. Like if you lose both Moreau and Taysom, you're gonna have to add someone again through free agency. That's just an interesting to look at. No offense, another one.
I mean, low key,
Yeah,
the
and-
draft for tight ends aren't bad too. I know how much Kyle loves his Baylor Bears. Michael Trigg is like this. This class is pretty decent. Like it doesn't have Kenyon Sadiq is the best name out there. It's not gonna be a Brock Bowers or someone like that, but Sadiq, Max Clare, Jack Andrews, Michael Trigg, Eli Stowers, Justin Jolly, Lawson Lucky, Tanner Koziel. Like there's a lot of names who they may not be an average fan like in their vocabulary. They know who they are and all that. But I feel like there will be a lot of sleepers who could impact the team. So it'd be wise for the Saints to invest, whether it's free agency or the draft. Just get some bodies in here who can do different things and complement each other.
I haven't watched a Baylor game since I stopped writing with Sports Illustrated on Baylor, but I can tell you one thing about Michael Trigg. That dude is
Beast.
a dog, man.
Absolute
Look,
dog. He's a
that guy is crazy. I've never watched a player admittedly uninterestedly watching these games, and then he turns it up. I can't remember what game it was. It was fourth quarter. He won Baylor that game single-handedly. He's a guy that if the Saints do go on to add a tight end through the draft, he could probably. I don't know what his projections is right now. I assume third roundish, if it's not a little higher.
He's kind of like Juwan Johnson in the sense where he's an outstanding receiver. There's just some question marks with him blocking. So I mean, you could kind of see a conversation with that, but I think Trigg's
He's got a lot of
supercharged.
size though. I believe
he's a lot bigger. He's got a better upside for blocking. So
he's got a lot of size that just in general being big enough gives you a little benefit in the block game. But what he's able to do as a receiver, I don't know how we really got into Michael Trigg conversations here, but what he's able to do as a receiver is really impressive to me. That's a guy I'd love to add through.
We'll be covering a lot of options for the draft. Like we'll get off topic randomly, but yeah.
Last
we're gonna
point
hear about
off
a lot of
topic.
names.
I cooked in a mock draft. I traded back with the Browns, got their both first round picks, Alvaro Reese and Kenyon Sadiq.
Kenyon Sadiq would be
Change my
very
roster.
little chance.
That's how you do it.
So little chance, but he'd be so good. If we trade back, get a Sadiq, get a Denzel Boston, get a Carnell Tate, someone like that. Oh, we're up. We are so up.
It's over for the rest of the league.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, I will let Kyle lead us into our trivia segment for today because after we finish trivia, I would like to point out one negative from the game that you guys have, just because I know it's a win, but there was definitely some stuff to be cleaned up. So I'll let Kyle take it away from here.
All right. It should be real simple, real easy. I'm gonna give you guys
every
the
time.
teams.
Every
I'll
time.
give you guys the teams,
Every time
and then
you
I'll
say
give you
that.
guys the years. It should be easy when I say the teams, right? So I'll give you the teams, and I'll give you the years. He was a Kansas City Chief, and then he was a New Orleans Saint.
Justin Reed. Justin Reed.
It's not Justin Reed. He was actually on the Texans with a.
Oh, there you go. Because the
Who am I thinking of?
Saints card.
That's a different guy.
Just Texan or Chief Saints.
Just
Clyde
Chiefs.
Edwards-Helaire.
Nope,
Is he a fullback?
he is not a fullback.
I'm
Okay, I think
thinking
it's someone
opposite.
else.
I was going to say Alex Okafor, but that's the other way around.
If you guys need years, I think years are
Not
probably
yet. Not yet.
Not yet, because we
Not
could cook
yet,
here a
not
little.
yet.
We're gonna name
Is it
like
Daniel
30.
Sorensen?
Oh my God! Come on, man! Give me a chance. You gotta just teams.
I thought he signed with someone else.
Oh,
I
Daniel
swear he signed with
Sorensen's
someone else.
so.
I
I
checked. he's never
forgot
been a
he was
Cardinals
on the
fan.
Saints.
He was a bum.
Oh my God, I was so
He
mad when he played.
What a way to go. I mean, you could let me get a little in there, get the years.
I'm sorry.
Give me
I
college.
always
on
think
there.
about Cole Kurtman, Daniel Stearns. There's another guy in my head. I can't remember his name. There's another safety. I can never think of who it
Has
is.
Keith
That's what I was-
Kirkwood ever been on another team?
Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
The Panthers Saints is gonna when Caleb does that next, gonna be a quick guess.
I think we did Keith Kirkwood already.
Oh,
I think we did.
Did we?
Yeah, I think
I
I
have.
chose Keith Kirkwood because I think he was on the third team and it was probably the Broncos. I don't.
We need to have like a leaderboard for this. I mean, Nick's first, but I feel like it could
I
be
have
pretty
one.
close. I think I have like 4 or 5.
I might be there
But
somewhere. I'll
you've
probably.
hosted a
Top
lot of
four.
them, so
You're top 4 for sure, Kyle.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Uh,
I will lead that into our next segment where we are going to discuss a negative from the game that you guys feel like the Saints need to address immediately. And for me, that is punter. I think the Saints need to go out and get a veteran punter immediately. Kai Kroger is awful. Watching him in person was giving me it was making me so angry. Every single punt is a shank to the left, and there's little to no distance on it. It was really setting the Panthers up in great position, and they just couldn't take advantage of it. Like I can't remember who said it, but someone said it before that there are multiple veteran punters out there that could definitely come in and get the job done much better than the rookie that wasn't even in the building for the first part of the offseason. Kind of won that battle out of nowhere. I believe it was the same argument we had for kicker, just going out and grabbing a veteran kicker that you know can get the job done. Obviously, that's easier said than done, as you've seen the Giants' issues at kicker. But I think the Saints need to address punter immediately. You saw the Raiders. AJ Cole has just been putting them in such good positions. I mean, he's had some unreal punts, and it's really set the Raiders up for success. I know they haven't been doing too hot because they're not really great offensively or defensively. But their special teams, they have probably one of the best special teams in the league with Daniel Carlson and AJ Cole. The Saints really need to address that punter position because it's gone so downhill ever since Thomas Morstead left the building. Even Blake Gillikin is doing a pretty good job over there in Arizona right now. So I'm not sure what's leading to the decision to keep swapping punters, but I'm not really sure I'm agreeing with it either.
I heard Will Lutz is doing pretty good as well.
Oh, don't even bring it up. How many game-winning kicks does he have this season?
I don't know, but it's more than we do.
Yeah.
I know this won't happen, but like, why can't we just go to Europe, find a soccer player, and just sign him on the team? Like, go to one of these teams that aren't paying much because they don't have a big budget for professional soccer. Sign one of them to be a Saint and just have them go out there and play. Like, that
Better
seems
than what
pretty
we've got
foolproof.
going on
Like,
now.
they can kick. Why not?
I'll take
Just
a
go
risk.
try it.
That'll be fun.
I'll
Yeah.
be the European scout for the Saints. We got that.
But I mean, if I would go to my problem with it, I mean, it's just a big problem that I can probably name every week of the season is penalties continue to be a problem. You know, from the opening drive, Demario Davis gets a pick. We're like, oh, there goes Bryce Young, but he gets another chance, and they score in the drive because Justin Reed again. I mean, it's in the rule book. You can't do it. It's pretty weak, but his hand landed on Bryce Young's
It's very
mask.
and you wouldn't expect that from a guy like Reed.
Yeah, so you know you lose interception, and again, Saints eventually come back, win the game, whatever. But there's situations where these penalties just cost them way too much. I mean, I think Tyler Shough did a good job being set up in 3rd and 13 multiple times this week, right? And that's all off those penalties. There was a big run, I believe it was an AK run, Alvin Kamara run that got called back because of who was it that was holding and probably didn't have to be holding, you know, things like that. That it just needs to be more disciplined. These penalties, I believe the final number is 6 penalties for 40 something yards. If I could pull it up real quick, 6 penalties for 60 yards. Yeah, you can't do that. That's a problem. So if there's going to be a negative, I'll just kind of throw it all on Kellen Moore, to be honest, because at this point it seems unfixed. So I'm going to throw these penalties as in kind of a Kellen Moore jab. You need to get your team disciplined. You got refs coming in on your practices to help fix this, and it's still not there. I guess you're not having the pre-snap as much, but it's just a lot of undisciplined football.
Speaking of Kellen Moore, we're going to talk about my negative, and it's Kellen Moore. I think some of the play calling this week was good to defend Kellen Moore. But we know what the evaluation is next season for what Kellen Moore needs to improve on.
Yeah.
Because they're like the penalties. Look, there's undisciplined penalties that should not happen, and that comes down to Kellen Moore. And the play calling this week, although there was some good, there was bad. Still, the utilization of Taysom Hill is a little weird at times. It still doesn't make sense why you're putting him over Tyler Shough, who's a rookie, who's playing well and just destroying all momentum. Although Alvin Kamara had a great game, don't get me wrong, Devin Neal was cooking on, like, he was running well. He was running really well. First run went for like 10 yards. It was great, but went away from him in the second half. But my biggest issue is, well, Actually, I'll talk about the first half first. So at the end of the first half, Saints had the ball, could drive down the field, go for a touchdown, and I don't mind. Had a gripe with it, but I don't mind. The Saints were trying to run the clock out. Look, you have a lead, you're running the clock out. I understand why you do that, but whatever happened with the play calls and then going for it, and then it was a penalty, which is bad that it happened out of a timeout. And then there was just so many weird things happening there with Kellen Moore's play calling that didn't work. But my biggest issue is going for it on fourth.
Yep.
Look, you are a one-win team going into this game. Go for it on your own 30. I don't care. You are talking about starting fast. Do it here. Yeah, against the Seahawks, it was weird because Seahawks was the third game of the season, fourth game of the season, but that was a little weird. But doing it now is fine. You have no reason to win besides morality. No, getting at the morale up. So if there's an issue, just go for it on fourth. And there was the Devon Vele throw that we talked about where he had a great catch. It was 4th and 2. And look, Devon Vele probably could have caught the ball and ran a little bit more. He wasn't tackled right away, but it was a possession catch. It was a Tyler Lockett specialty. I'm fine with that. But it's 4th and 2 in the middle of the field when you should be going for it. It's going to be a massive issue. Oh my God, I remembered. Okay. If it was the first drive, I think it was when the Saints were on the 1 yard line of the Panthers 1 yard line, and you just played the Bucs, who ran down the middle 4 times and didn't get it. You know it doesn't work, and your running game has been struggling, and the Panthers defensive line is good, and you just keep running down the middle and doing these running plays that do not work. Stop. And then you don't go for it on fourth. You are and look, in the end, it helped with that field goal, but you are a one-win team. Just go for it. That's kind of, and I respect also putting it in Tyler Shough's hands to try to get that third down conversion. I like that, but there's just so many issues where we know what Kellen Moore is going to have to work on next season. It's converting third downs and fourth downs. It's fourth down calls going for it, and it's the field goals or the field goal issue, and then penalties. And that's kind of what the issues were still very clear about the Panthers, because look, the Saints could have probably scored 30 points in this game if they went for it more and they were more aggressive and they had better play calls in certain times.
And it really feels like the Taysom Hill QB draw up the middle is a bit forced at this point. I mean, you saw it at the end of the game. Obviously, the Saints were just trying to get out of there with the win, but he had 5 carries in a row. And it's interesting because the Saints aren't bad on fourth down. They went 2 of 3 on fourth down against the Panthers, and Alvin Kamara was getting those yards that you need. And he did have a good play call on one of the fourth downs where it was one of those misdirections, handoffs to the fullback, which Taysom Hill took, and it got the first down. So look, he obviously can do these things. He can be successful in these situations, but it's something that we've been talking about since the beginning of the season. It's trust. You have to trust your guys, and you have to trust your play calling. You have to trust yourself. And until he builds that trust, I don't know how confident I can be in those short yardage downs.
I would say I saw a lot of people complaining about Taysom Hill. Tyler Shough didn't take a snap within the last 3 minutes until it was victory formation. All I saw from that is I don't want Alvin Kamara hurt. I don't want Tyler Shough hurt. Taysom's coming off of a pretty bad leg injury, but I mean, he's an Iron Man for the most part. I just saw, I don't have a problem with it because it was the safest thing you do. You can't turn the ball over. It's a little play to not lose, but the Saints basically had the game in the bag at that point, and it's just run the clock out. You don't want to give it to anybody. Maybe Devin Neal could have been a better option. Give him some snaps. He's a pretty big guy. Protect the ball, or he's a bowling ball of a running back, I would say. So he could have been somebody that could have done it. But I mean, I just saw a team that didn't want to hurt any of their young guys or veterans. Alvin Kamara is still dealing with ankle injury, so I don't have as much of a problem with that as a lot of other people do. But earlier on the game, look, the Taysom Hill stuff used to be the Saints tush push. You couldn't stop it. If it was 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, Taysom Hill got the ball. You don't have the blocking for that as much anymore. And, Taysom coming off that leg injury, he's probably not going to make 3 guys miss or run 2 of them over and stiff arm the other. But I don't think you should go away from it. Honestly, I like the idea of lining up for it. And honestly, more times than not running a different play. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these guys are still working, and they did it a lot. It was a lot of option with Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara ended up actually taking the ball as well. I don't hate the Taysom Hill plays stuff as much. What I didn't like was running the ball on 3rd and 5 before halftime, and then I believe they punted it anyways.
They got the penalty and then punted.
Yeah,
They were going to go
I
for
mean,
it, but it was the penalty.
I didn't like the run. I didn't like the run. That's
The
like me and men.
bothers me with the Taysom Hill thing is that it's a run every time. You're making it too predictable.
They did pass once.
Yeah,
it was
one
horrible,
time,
but they
It
did
was not
pass
good.
once.
and it was
That kind of goes into like my biggest thing was just the power runs.
Yeah.
Why aren't you using Devin Neal? Like, I just don't get it.
It makes me so
He
mad.
falls forward in every situation. I've seen so much of him, and he rarely gets stopped and doesn't fall forward. Why? Like, Kamara's still a great player. Taysom Hill, a great player. But I don't think either one of them has the power or just the ability to fall forward like Devin Neal does. In those situations, it just seems kind of inane to not use your power back and to risk something else. Kyle said it. Taysom Hill, he just doesn't have the juice anymore to what he once had. I'm not opposed to them still running the play because I think it can be valuable. But what do they run? Like, yeah, you're saying like 3 times in a row. Taysom Hill's in 5 times in a row. I just don't know how much I see that one anymore.
And it's especially because Devin Neal averaged 5.5 yards per carry, and 16 of his 22 rushing yards came after contact. So he can be that bowling ball for you. I'm not really understanding why he's not getting that much.
I don't know why Kellen
Did the
Moore
Saints
didn't use
elevate any other running back for that game, or was it just
Audric-
AK?
Yeah, Audric Estime was signed to the
Estime.
roster.
He was elevated. Okay,
He's on the
Because
roster.
Audric Estime also fits that.
Oh,
He's a power back. He
fits that
from
role.
what I see on him, I think he's just a tiny bit worse version of Devin Neal.
Yeah.
From what I see,
Less elusive.
he's less
version.
elusive, a little bit less speed. He's just kind of a little bit toned down than Devin Neal. That was his big thing. He ran, I think it's 40. Let me look it up. If he ran a 40, but it wasn't good.
Just a little toned down.
I do think Devin Neal. I mean, those last snaps, I thought they should have gone to Devin Neal instead of Taysom. I think if you're worried about injuries.
Estime ran a 4.7140.
Yeah.
So
Hey, man,
he's just
run him
down.
on 3rd and 1. He's got to be. How big is he? I'm not too familiar with him.
Big. Let me look at.
While you're looking up real quick, I did love the fullback run with Taysom Hill. I think it was on 4th down. That was good. That's how you like. That's a really good way of using Taysom Hill. But never throw with him. Stop that. I don't care if it's a trick play. It's not a trick play.
Take a deep shot with him.
No. I
was holding my breath.
I don't like it. It's just like
to the end zone.
There's like small things Kellen Moore's doing that it's just not like what we want to see, and it's hurting the team. Which, like, look again, his coaching staff is so inexperienced. Like, that's what people just do not talk. This whole defensive staff, besides Brandon Staley, are basically college coaches for the first time coaching in the NFL. Like, people do not talk about that they are developing too. And Kellen Moore is developing as a head coach. It is his first time being head coach. It takes some time. That's why I'm like, don't fire him after this year. Never do that ever. That's so bad. This is not the case. Don't do that. If the the Jets are trusting their coach for another year, the Saints better trust their coach because, look, Kellen Moore has been better this season. It's not been pretty. Obviously, there are issues, but I think he's going to grow. And next year's the evaluation. He's not a player. Next year's the evaluation. This year, just let him cook. Let him learn a little bit. Let him develop like a quarterback.
Yeah, and the Saints dodged a bullet in Aaron Glenn. I mean, that has just been a disaster over there, whether it be his avoidance to tell the truth to the media regarding injuries or anything like that. His grasp on the team and of the quarterback position, he still has no idea who he wants to be the starting quarterback. And that's clear just by the lack of trust that he's shown in Justin Fields. So I think the Saints made the right hire in Kellen Moore, and he's done much better than Dennis Allen was doing last year at this point. Obviously, I mean, there's going to be growing pains, but I feel like he has a firm grasp on this roster. It's just a matter of what you said, Caleb. It's a very young and inexperienced coaching staff. They are learning too. You have to be patient with them, and you can't can a guy after 1 year, especially if it's their first stint.
You're going back. Audric estimates 5'11", 227. Kind of off topic, but
Ball.
so I mean,
Definition of a
he's.
ball.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you guys think it's gonna be? Because I thought about it every time I saw it, and Taysom ran up in that power. That because Tyler Shough's lining up at wide receiver every time.
They throw it to him.
It's either the backward pass to
6'5".
another deeper pass, or there. I've seen so many trick plays.
I am
and
not
think it's
risking Tyler
illegal.
Shough's leg
A
in
heart.
any
Mm-hmm.
throw ever.
Hey,
That man could be
what
a
if he's
franchise.
the
hard-hitting
big body
safety.
wide receiver we need in the end zone? You know, a little
A
one.
hard-hitting safety is going to go downhill and kill him. If he faces Antoine Winfield or someone in a couple weeks,
Antoine Winfield's
and
like
they try that,
though. You know, a
he's
little jump ball in the end zone. Little jump
Nah.
ball in the end zone.
Minka Fitzpatrick. He's
God,
not
that would be
surviving that.
so New Orleans Saints. Just have Tyler Shough actually playing like a franchise quarterback, doing a trick play and break his
They've
leg
already
on
tried
a
a quarterback pass this
throw.
year, and that went amazing. So that one it can't go any worse than the Olave throw to Spencer Rattler. So
Oh, yeah.
think of it that way. Can't go
Can't-
unless they return it for a touchdown. Can't go.
But what if
any worse.
Taysom
The
gets
only
to
way.
throw it? Taysom throws a fade to Tyler Shough in the end zone.
At this point,
It's gonna be
Taysom is kinda like a
underthrown.
wide receiver.
or
He'll just-
overthrown.
If it's overthrown, he's 6'5", so there's a good
Yeah,
Put
it's
Spencer
so
Rattler
slow.
in. Put Spencer Rattler. Put Jake Hayner. Oh wait, never mind. Put Spencer Rattler in and just throw it to Tyler Shough.
Tyler Shough had a 32-inch vertical at the combine.
Hey, 6'5",
can jump.
32-inch vertical. He's got a little bit of burners, a little jump ball. Antoine Winfield, who's winning?
I wouldn't put it past it happening at one point during his
Not Tyler Shough's leg. It's the loser. It's the loser in that battle.
He's gonna break his collarbone for the third time.
We don't need to see that.
No.
With that said, I think that will wrap up today's episode.
What a way to end it.
Yeah, I know, right? There is no game this week, so we will catch y'all later in the week with a preview episode of Saints vs. Falcons. It's hate week next week, so it should be a fun one. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you.